No way. I've just done a car vertical check and this car has had some bad damage. I can't believe it. I've been stitched up. This is the UK's cheapest Mercedes S-Class. I've just bought it as a bit of stock and this is without a doubt my favourite purchase of the week. Hold on, we've got to move the car back because we have a distraction. Let's just pull the car back inside the yard. Beep, 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 beep.
2 hours later.
Just as well, the Merc's got a high quality reverse camera. Seriously high quality. And then, yeah, this is going to seem a bit weird because all of the shots have been filmed over there, but I think for the benefit of this video, we're just going to film in the middle of the yard, in front of reception, to avoid any further distractions. That's better. This is a far better location to film. Do you know what? I don't normally film here because over there I can kind of keep out of everyone's way, but then that puts me amongst every, I don't know, it's better here. Anyway, 2014 64 reg Mercedes S-Class. This is an S350D long wheelbase, right? This car has got a £4,000 optional extra, which we're going to go through options shortly. Also, a massive thanks to Car Vertical for sponsoring this video. We're going to go through one of their checks as well soon. And I bought this car along with another car, 2 Mercedes S-Classes off of a chauffeur company, a local chauffeur company. So we bought a pair of them off of them. They've updated their cars. This one is the higher mileage car out of the 2. Obviously, feel free to have a little guess what you think the mileage is, and I'll tell you what it is shortly. The wonderful thing about it being a long wheelbase is, of course, luxury, yeah? That's what these cars are designed for. You can get a normal wheelbase and a long wheelbase. Now, you lot know I love a luxury car, like literally love luxurious cars. I've actually drove this car home a couple of days for the last couple of days, and I'm loving it. The way it drives, it literally floats down the road. Whether you're the driver or a passenger in the rear, it is just a beautiful thing to be in. So that there is like the size of the rear door on a long wheelbase S-Class, yeah? So if we sort of try and fix my arms, yeah? I didn't move an inch there, did I? That is the size of the door on the Mercedes S-Class. Here we've got a BMW 5 Series, which is a big car. I've just moved my arms again. We'll just assume it was about that, yeah? Robotic arms, but it gives you an idea anyway. We've got like, this is a big car. This is a very big car, but that is a different league. It's like a boat in comparison, all right? So whilst we're on the subject of these massive rear doors, we're going to open the rear door. The bloody size of it. In fact, let's quickly talk about something else. Look at that, look. Soft closed doors, see little things like this. I love it. And then in the front, sorry, we're going to talk about the rear again shortly. It is just such a nice place to be. That steering wheel looks like it should be on a cruise ship. It is abnormally shaped. I think in a picture I'd probably look at it and think that looks like it should be on a concept car. But in this old, almost 10-year-old Mercedes S-Class, it looks wonderful. Now this car is a blue something. The end of that badge has gone missing. We'll talk about that shortly. But it does have a big boot, which is also very nice. Currently we have a camera bag in there and plenty of space for bodies and annoying people if you wish to throw them in the boot as well. Bags of cash, because that's what this car probably would have been used for. It's a bit gangster, innit? It is designed for people with lots of money to be shipped around in, I suppose. So what else did I want to say on the exterior of the car? The engine. Let's quickly talk about that. That's the bonnet, Cal. Do you know what? Before we talk about the engine, look at the front end of this car. It's so grand, isn't it? Like, when you go to London, for anyone that visits London on a regular basis, these things are bloody everywhere on the road. Like, literally, I'm in London at the minute with Kai, right, Kai? And there is S-Classes bloody everywhere. Another S-Class in the distance there, look. Oop, bit of road rage. Hold on a minute, in the distance there, there's a CL Coupe. That there, that is a seriously cool car. 7 Series there, very nice. Long wheelbase as well. Tesla. Jag. Golfer, got the plates to go with it as well. VWR. There's one in the background, all the way over there, look. Another S-Class in the far distance. Oh, there's another one. Another S-Class. Is that another one? That is another one. Another one. Old shape S-Class. I think personally, If I was a chauffeur driver, I would probably want a black one. I think black just gives it that sort of gangster look. But then this is, it's got the sleek look, which is also quite cool. Yeah, under the bonnet there is a 3-litre V6 turbocharged diesel engine that produces just over 250 brake horsepower. It's quite quick, yeah, it ain't massively quick. We'll be able to tell how quickly it is on the Draggy leaderboard shortly, but it does weigh 2 tonnes, so it's a proper heavy car. Now, I've not yet told you the mileage otherwise, so have a look at the wear on that driver's seat. It ain't too bad at all. It's actually worn really well in here. I will tell you the mileage shortly, but before we do that, let's jump in the rear, because that is what this car is all about. As we hop in the rear, look, loads of leg room for my big dirty trainers. Look at the state of them. Good old binker mud. Honestly, I'm not even joking. This is super comfortable in the back here. The sun is in my eyes slightly, but we do have the added luxury of blinds in the rear of this car, both sides and on the back, which is all adjusted through the rear. In fact, I think what we should do now is let's pull up the spec check and talk you through what spec this car's got. Do you know what? Actually, cameraman, go away. I need to close the door. I've got this bloody sun in my eyes. Clear off. Guess what? We've got a car that needs to leave the yard. So before we do anything, we need to move the car. Again, move the car again. I love this. I literally love it. Oh no, where's the key? Are you going out with that one, yeah? Yeah, no problem, mate. Oh my God, I've got a mini key in my pocket. There we go. May as well do a quick hashtag key check while we're at it. Take or make the most of this fine opportunity to have the key in your hand, Cal. Right, start the engine. The wonderful Mercedes boat engine. Right, let's jump back in the back. You know what, I'm the problem. As much as I moan all the time about cars trying to get out of a car yard, that's what they're supposed to do. I'm the problem, not them. I need to stop bloody moaning about it. Maybe find a new yard, that would be, talk about that another day. Look at this thing in the back. It does seem to have lost a little bit of life on this Times newspaper holder at the rear of the seat there. That's all right. I think it's not too bad. Big, like seriously substantial centre armrest there, like that is unbelievable. You could hide your bits and bobs in there. You could also hide further bits and bobs in that cubby hole there. That's a pretty big one. 2 cup holders, one for each side, and rather comfy headrest. In fact, it's got like cushions on the headrest, isn't it? Which look like you could remove them and wash them. So let's go through the wonderful spec list that this car's got. So I say wonderful, it's got this £4,000 spec option. I'm doing this in pure comfort, by the way. This is super nice in the back of this car. Quick screen recording. There we go, all registers are clear, it's HPI clear, it's not been stolen, not been any accidents or none of that. S350D SE line, so it's an SE car, obviously with the options on top. 4-door saloon, 7-speed auto, 2 former keepers, silver diesel, 3-litre diesel, all stuff that we already know about. 2.5 stars out of 5. This car was £65,000 new, plus it's got 5 grand's worth of optional extras. The optional equipment consists of, here's the big golden moment, the one at the top there, the executive rear package was £4,000, which was mentioned plenty of times in this video, and that consists of, I have a screenshot, adjustable backrests in the rear. Check that out, just to add to the luxury. Adjustable backrest, heated, cooled, electronically operated seats in the rear, so this is all like heating controls down here. By the way, the controls in this car are lovely. I literally love the way the infotainment system works, and all the buttons and for the climate control stuff works in the front. We will talk about that shortly when we go for a drive. And blinds in the rear windows and rear climate control. So you've got rear climate control and obviously all the blinds which I mentioned, which are also adjustable via the front window switches as well. So if you want if you like, let's say you fall asleep in the back and you and Boris are in the back snoring away, yeah, and your driver in the front thinks, God, Boris has got sun in his eyes. He needs, we need to close the blinds for him. The driver can do that for Boris, literally. Boris can chill, sleep, snore, and have no sun in his eyes, thanks to them switches at the front of the car. Also, which is quite interesting, there's like little mirrors here, so if you want to check yourself out whilst you're driving, you can do that with a little light, which is quite fancy. And whilst we're on the subject of car checks, is that a car trying to get out? It's not, is it? It's actually not. So, mileage. I think at this point in the video, I'm going to tell you what the mileage is, but quickly before we do the car vertical check, to see if the mileage is correct, because that would also be quite interesting. So, this car has done just over 189,000 miles, which, do you know what, for an S-Class that's been on the road for almost 10 years, ain't too bad. But with that in mind, the condition of this car is unbelievable. It must have been well looked after, well loved. I suppose it's carrying, like, genuinely, I know I've joked about the type of characters that it would have in the back of it, but it's been carrying potentially affluent people that want to spend more on a taxi than a usual taxi fare, and you know, it's got to be up to a good standard. So yeah, it's in lovely condition. And then if we jump over to the car vertical check, no way. I've just done a car vertical check, and this car has had some bad damage. I can't believe it. I've been stitched up. Oh wait, hold on. I've typed in the wrong bloody reg, you know. Here we go, this is the correct car. Mercedes-Benz S350 Blue Tech. That's the remaining section of the word that should have been on the back, Blue Tech. Sedan, obviously meaning saloon. Long wheelbase S350 again. There's a chassis number there, and there's a green tick next to the mileage. We can confirm that the 189,000 miles that this car has travelled is legit, all right? It's not been stolen, it's had no accidents. That's really important. Thank you very much to Car Vertical for doing this in-depth check. If you want to do one of these, by the way, for yourself, I will link them in the description below. Use my code CCD, yeah? Use it, because you will get a discount. I encourage you to use it, and I encourage you to do these checks because it is so bloody important. When you're buying a used car, you've got to look at yourself like you're an idiot, yeah? Do as many checks as you possibly can, because you're about to spend all of your own money on this vehicle that you don't actually know everything about. So do one of these checks. They're so important. Don't cost you loads of money. You can find out so much about any car you like just by paying a few quid, all right? So no finance on it as well. That's really important. We've got a whole timeline of the car there as well. Let's just double check that we're still recording. Yes, we are. Whole timeline of the car since the day it was born, and it just tells you the ins and outs. Stolen vehicle check, just checks it through multiple countries, and then there's a timeline there. Oh look, how likely would you be to recommend us to your friend? I think I'd recommend you Car Vertical. I'll give you, it's not very like, I'll give you a 5, yeah? Submit that. Have some of that. So yeah, that's pretty much it for all the checks of the car. It's all obvious stuff, but like I say, I do encourage it. You should do that, all right? So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna jump from the rear of the car to the front of the car, start the engine, hit the road, still got to take it for a drive, show you what it drives like, and then we're gonna do draggy times to see what it does 20 to 70 mile an hour in, all right? And before we do any of that, we need to talk about values. We haven't spoken about values yet, have we? What, in fact, I'm so comfortable in the rear of this car, I can't even be bothered to open the door and get all the way into that driver's seat. Driver, you couldn't just click your fingers and get me into the front of the car, could ya? Can't be bothered to move. So unfortunately, I'm unable to do that in the front of the vehicle. You'd have to click your fingers in the rear yourself. You're joking, you can do everything from that driver's seat, can't ya? No, you will have to click your fingers yourself, sir. All right, I'll do it myself, shall I? Ready? 3, 2, 1. Sorted, we are now in the front of the car. What a result. So, what is this going to talk about? Valuation. How much do you think this car's worth? Now let's quickly jump on Auto Trader, back to the phone, because all this wonderful stuff is available to you, every single one of us, via our phone. Go to Auto Trader. We're just going to type in Mercedes, and then we're going to type in S-Class across the country from year 2013, because that's what these cars, the time of life these cars came around. There we go. The cheapest one on the net there is our one at £14,000, and obviously it's done 189,000 miles, right? 14 grand. In fact, I actually got the price wrong. The high mileage car is advertised for 12.5 grand, and then the lower mileage car, I think that's done about 130,000. That one there is £14,000. So for 12.5 grand, you can get yourself a nice S-Class Mercedes with 190,000 miles. Not bad. I talk about it all the time. I want to get myself something luxurious that I can daily drive with a diesel engine under the bonnet. I suppose the downfall to this car is, I mean, it's not really a downfall, it's a plus. It's got loads of back space, but I don't need all this back space. I don't carry people around all the time. I think that maybe an S-Class coupe would do me. Yeah, I could see myself in one of them. But yeah, 14 grand. What a car for the money. Let's now finally hit the road and see what this thing drives like. Right then, key in ignition. We've done hashtag key check. We've talked about values. Ignition is on. Do you know what? There is so much left. Let's turn the volume down. Turn that right down. Bit of Spice Girls on the go on the radio at the minute. There is so much more to talk about on the interior of this car. Like, it is a joke. Like, the luxury in this car is unbelievable. It's such a pleasant place to be. Such a nice place to be. Let's start the engine.
It's calm, you know, not expecting anything. We're not here for crazy performance. We are here for typical S-Class stuff. So the dash is such a nice thing. Like to look at, you've got this one big screen in front of you. You've got another big screen to the left of that. And it almost feels like it's one complete single unit. So obviously in the center, you've got the infotainment system. That is almost divided between two sections as well. So you've got all the functions and the controls on the left there. And then to the right, you've got a little sat-nav screen. So you've constantly got a sat-nav screen on the go, and you're able to see what part of the menu you're in as well along the way. So little volume control button down here, all these buttons down here, by the way, I love all of this. You can control everything from this control panel down here. You've got a back button, you've got a menu button, you've got a radio button, sat nav, all of it, everything you need is all down here. You've also got multifunction controls on the steering wheel as well. In front of the driver, you've obviously got the instrument cluster, which again is very customizable, changeable. I have it set up on the Speedo there. You can't do loads of it. It's not like on par with, say, VW's virtual cockpit, but this is a 2014 car and they would have updated them later in time. So this is quite like an entry level basic version of a virtual cockpit, but it does everything you want it to. It's really, really fancy. All right, so seatbelt on. It is nice as well that we've got heated seats. You do not have cooled seats in the front of this car. You've only got cooled seats in the rear. And also something else that I've not yet mentioned is the fact that we've got these nice ambient lighting throughout the whole car, into the rear as well, behind the rear headrests, which is also quite cool. I don't know why I've suddenly decided to talk quietly, but one thing with this car, it's such a peaceful car. Look, let me just stick that front camera on. Such a peaceful car. Yeah. You drive away, click off the indicator stalk on the right hand side there, that is your gear stick. There is no gear selector down here, none of that. You select it there and you just peacefully drive off. Such a peaceful car to drive. Like, this is made, of course, that's what an S-Class is, to be a chauffeur car. Yeah, that's what it is, that's what we talked about, you know what I mean? But it's perfectly designed for it. It's just a beautiful thing to drive. Even for a driver, it's beautiful to be in, let alone being a passenger. You all right in the back here, boys? Yeah, everyone all right? We actually ain't got no one in the back, we've got to pretend. Didn't we? So obviously on my little drive we will be doing the test, the ultimate test, which is along the bumpy road. We have a bumpy road, we have a normal road, and then finally we're going to end the video on draggy time to see how it performs. I reckon it's going to be probably in the 7s. It ain't massively high performance. One thing I would say with this car is when you initially take off, when you start the engine, it puts it instantly into like an eco mode. So into an eco mode, which is very dull. It's very you know, you have to really throttle it to get it off the mark, and it's not very responsive. So what I tend to do is, let's just put out the yard, is I put it in sports mode, and then we'll put out the yard and I'll display what this car performs like. It's actually alright, like it does pull quite well. It's not a slow car by any means. Obviously it ain't meant to, like I just mentioned, it ain't designed to be a performance car, but considering it is a big fat 2-ton cruiser, it pulls really well. It's a front engine rear wheel drive car as well, I think that's worth mentioning. So in the snow it's probably not the best, but it's got a good amount of power. I'm not going to go too mad, one because I don't want to speed, I want to, you know, keep everything in line with the law, and two because I've got a lorry in front of me, so I can't. All right, so anything else more to report on the inside? I think for me, like I say it a lot, I'm not Mercedes' biggest fan, but I would say that there are two cars that I am drawn to in the Mercedes range more than any other car in the Mercedes range. One of them is a G-Wagon. I quite like G-Wagons, I think they're bloody cool. They're not the nicest things to drive, granted, but there's just something dead cool about a G-Wagon. And two, Mercedes S-Class. I think they do their job perfectly. And by the way, on that note, we are on the bumpy road. We're going to see how well it deals with this. This road is absolutely horrendous. The council needs to sort it out, but they don't, because we don't want them to. This is great for my videos. Look at that. It is floating over these bumps. Thank you, council, for not repairing this road, because currently we are demonstrating the smoothness of a Mercedes S-Class, and it just hovered over them bumps beautifully. Look at that, absolutely wonderful. So that is exactly what this car is all about. I do like BMW 7 Series as well, but I don't know, I think if I was a chauffeur driver, I'm going back to what I was talking about just now, by the way, brain spring from one subject to the next. The BMW 7 Series is beautiful. I've done a little video on Instagram and TikTok the other day on one of them, beautiful car, but I don't know why I would just feel more drawn to an S-Class if I was a chauffeur driver. If there's any chauffeur drivers out there that have an opinion on that, your opinion is better than mine because you are a chauffeur driver. Please feel free to comment your thoughts on that in the comments below. All right, so what I'm going to do now is let's do draggy times. Yeah, see how it performs. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Sports mode, traction control just kicked in there, the rear wheels lit up, the roads are dry. That just shows you how powerful this car is. Massive amounts of power. And there we go, 20 to 70 mile an hour for those that are new, because it's like road legal, and you know, it just gives us a good indication of how a car performs legally on the roads. All right, I'm looking for 7s. We are going to do 2 more runs, 3 in total. We're in the 7.36. We will compare it to the other cars on the leaderboard shortly. Let me just quickly do 2 more runs and I'll come back to you in a sec and we'll have a little look where it falls on the leaderboard. All right, round the bend in my high mileage floaty boaty Mercedes S-Class, and the times are in. I did do a couple more runs. One of them wasn't verified, but there was one that was verified and it was faster than the first run. We've done it in 7.14 seconds, which is actually quite good. If we look at the leaderboards, you'll see that it is faster than a Honda S2000. That's impressive. Almost as quick as a Mercedes SL350, and almost as quick as an EP3 Civic Type R. So, and I did notice as well with Ben's little Polo GTI, this is faster than that. Ben, if you watch this video, mate, we will beat you in our S-Class in your Polo GTI. So, quite impressive, very impressive, very impressive. I think what this car, obviously, what it offers is status and luxury. The interior, I can't get over how luxurious this car is, and especially I keep thinking about the price. £14,000. Look, forget this car. This car will probably be sold by the time this video goes live. But for a budget of up to 15 grand for a car of this quality, like I said to you, I'm driving this car. I tend to pick my personal favourite car on the site to daily drive. And currently, not to say this is the best car that we've got, but I just love what it offers. I love the comfort. I love the way it drives. It just sort of floats around. It's just a pleasure to drive, and you would not know, trust me, you would not know that it's done that many miles. It is so, I'm just super impressed. We've got a bit of performance, we've got status on the road. Yeah, people look at me and think he must be a multi-millionaire driving that. Look at him, he's smashing it in life. No, I'm not. This is like, I don't know, Golf GTI money, 330D money. This ain't a lot of money at all, is it? So yeah, heated seats, reverse camera, all the wonderful stuff that we need on the infotainment system. The buttons I didn't mention, I didn't go back to them, but I love all these buttons. I love them. I mentioned these buttons down here earlier, but I did not touch on these buttons. I love them. They just work so well. You can go up and down as well on all of the buttons. And I've got a little VW Polo up my arse now. Give it some of that, mate, and see you later. Look, around this bend, rear wheel drive, shifting this fat old boat around these bends, no problem at all. Over that hill, that was just like, it seems to sort of, I know I'm sort of going on a little bit now, but most cars follow bumps like that, whereas this follows bumps like this. It sort of settles itself after it's hit the bump. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up and leave it as that because I'm just banging on. I am excited about this car. It's definitely, without a doubt, my favourite purchase of the week. Pop back next Sunday for my next week's purchase of the week. I'm doing this every single Sunday at 6 o'clock. So be sure to come back, hit subscribe if you're new, hit like if you like this video, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.